At InDigital, we know the public safety professionals hold themselves to a high standard. In fact, standard doesn't do it justice. In over 25 years working alongside you, carrying millions of calls over our IP networks, your dedication has inspired us. That's why our ESI Net goes beyond industry standards, not only I3 compliant, but designed to adapt to future development for a network you can count on when it matters most. Learn more at indigital.net.
Carbine, it's multimedia. You can get text, translate to whatever language, getting away with the legacy equipment and going into a cloud-based solution.
It's the first time in U.S. history that we have an EZNet through cloud-native call handling.
As a police officer, to have the victim go video, that's unheard of.
You're getting upgrades every month, not every year.
To schedule your free Carbine demo, please visit carbine.com/WTT.
If Within the Trenches has ever taught you something, open your eyes to what it is like to be a 911 dispatcher, or has inspired you to become one, then help support us and join our Patreon. Get exclusive bonus content, one-of-a-kind swag, discounts on merchandise, ad-free early access to new episodes, and much more. To join, please visit patreon.com/WTT podcast. And if you're an industry partner, we have something for you as well. And now, for the show.
This is Jordan, and you're listening to the Code 7 Podcast Network.
Warning. This episode contains the 3 A's of podcasting: adult content, adult language, and awesomeness. You've been warned. Hey, what's going on? This is Ricardo with the Code 7 Podcast Network, and this is going to be episode 472 of Within the Trenches, True Stories from the 911 Dispatchers Who Live Them. This episode is sponsored by InDigital as well as Carbine. Shout out to patrons as always. And I wanted to jump in here right before we start because this is the second part of the Imagine Listening session. Last week, you heard episode 471, which was Imagine Listening. Powerful stories there. Just amazing people. They're sharing what they do and the calls that they end up taking. So thank you all once again for being there, but also for sticking around for open mic. So episode 472, this is an open mic session. This is where we hear all the funny stuff that happens in 911, whether it be calls, incidents, anything like that. And it was an excellent time. So I hope you enjoy this episode. And once again, it's open mic, and this is episode 472, and this was recorded live, with a live audience, rather, at the New Jersey NENA conference.
This is Jordan, and you're listening to the Code 7 Podcast Network.
Warning. This episode contains the 3 A's of podcasting: adult content, adult language, and awesomeness. You've been warned.
Dispatch.
There is no one over here to cook our lunch. We are waiting for our lunch, and there's no one here to cook our lunch.
All right, calm down. Where are you at?
The group home. Now, what are you going to do?
We'll get some help over there for you, okay?
Welcome to Open Mic, where we visit the lighter side of dispatch, because laughing is good medicine. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Within the Trenches, True Stories from the 911 Dispatchers Who Live Them. But this is going to be a special presentation for Open Mic because laughing is good medicine. Now, we just finished off Imagine Listening. We shared some hard stories, but we were able to heal and find some sort of closure through the power of storytelling. But now we're going to go to the lighter side of dispatch, and we're going to talk about some of the funny shit that happens, some of the stuff that you hear on late night television, on radio, you see all over social media. And because if you don't have some sort of humor with some of the calls that we end up taking that come in, it's not about those who are calling in, it's about the situation. It's the situation that we end up finding somewhat humorous. We all have that dark humor, right? So I'm here with a live audience, and we are at the 2022 New Jersey NENA conference with a live audience. Let's hear it, please. As I said earlier, it takes one call for all of them to go downhill. So please, no names, address, nothing's going to get my ass sued, please. However, if you do happen to slip or anything, don't worry. I will take it out in post-production because we are not live at the moment. We are recording live. So who wants to kick this off? Who has a story? There we go. Wow. All right. Let's do this. Look at that. The hand went up and bam, there we are.
So I started. I was only there maybe 6 months, and I answered the 911 call, and the guy was just yelling, big, 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 big. And I said, sir, what's wrong? He was like, my wife, big, 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 big. And I said, okay, sir, I need to know. It's 911. Is it a life-threatening emergency? Yes. I said, okay, sir, what's big? What's wrong? I was like, what happened? He was like, oh, my wife, her vagina, big, big, big. And I went... And my dispatcher next to me was like, what's the matter? I said, I don't know. He said her vagina's big. She was like, what? I said, exactly. I said, okay. So my instant thought, and which I wish I didn't say it when I got back on the radio, on the phone, I said, what did you do to it? And my dispatcher next to me was like, what? I said, sir, what happened to it? Did you do anything to it? Did she do anything to it? And he was like, then I said, wait a minute. I said, sir, wait, is your wife pregnant? And he was like, yes, I see the head. And I said, oh my God. So we used to joke with our ambulance when we used to call him. I said, you have a good call. And he goes, what? I said, you have to respond to this lady. And he goes, what's wrong? I said, her vagina's big. And he goes, what? I said, exactly. I said, no, she's pregnant. She's having a baby. But that was one of my favorites.
Thank you so much. Who else has a story? All right, here we go.
This is not as much as a 911 story. It is a dispatch center story. Yes. And you may think it's funny. You may not. I don't know most of you. But we were, again, early in our 911, our center started actually doing 911. And I get a call from this gentleman and panicking. He goes, my brother, he's stuttering. He's like, what's going on there, sir? He says, my brother, his penis is swollen. Okay, go through the cards. There's nothing there for penis smelling. So I treat it as such, okay, we'll go through all the questioning and write down on we're still using cards. So I wrote down swollen penis and slid it across the console to my partner, who's also a good friend of mine. And it's dead silence. He's looking at the card and he's not saying a word. And he looks at me and goes, what am I supposed to do with this? I said, use your imagination, man. And I just thought it was funny because I just set him up to. I did that deliberately just to set him up. Yeah, I wasn't lying, but it was his actual. Yeah, he probably still hates me for that. And him and I are good friends, and we go fishing together and everything else. So. But that was the beginning of 911 for us, and then I just thought it was funny. I thought it was funny. To him, not so much, but I thought it was funny because it was his voice on the radio. That's all there is.
That's nuts. Who's got a story? Over here. All right. There you go.
Thank you. So I was working an evening shift, midday, probably kids got out of school. We take a 911 call, frantic caller, keeps telling me, my baby's not breathing. So, of course, right away we dispatch the officers. Heavy traffic, got a state highway. They're driving in the medians. They're taking down signs. I'm trying to get more information. I'm trying to EMD. Did the baby have any history? No. How old's the baby? They're giving me ages. Is the baby on any medication? And then finally, I asked if the baby's been to any doctors. And the caller goes, my baby doesn't go to doctors. It's a cat. And I'm like, I'm sorry, hold on. You said your baby's not breathing. Yes, it's my baby. It's a cat. Yes. Like it drinks milk out of a saucer. Yes, it's a cat. Like meow. So I'm trying to give this to the officers as they are still going lights and sirens, one has now taken down a mile marker sign. You have to get on the radio and be like, I'm now being advised it's a cat, which now we proceed to go through the whole phrase again. You said it was a baby. I know I said it was a baby. Now I'm saying it's a cat. Like an animal? Yes, like it drinks milk. It's not a baby. Yes, it's a cat. Has collar, shakes, all this. And of course they get there. It turns out it was a cat. The person called 911 for us to take it to the vet. But yes, it started off my baby and ended with milk in a saucer.
Thank you. Thank you for that.
So one of the first years I started working, I picked up a 911 call. I was working an afternoon into an evening shift, and I had a little lady clearly on the phone, very upset. Started off with, my husband's not responding. And I'd been trained. I knew what to do. I'm like, okay, great. So I go through my EMD, get the information from her, and I'm starting to talk to her. Okay, is he awake? No, I don't think so. Is he breathing? I can't tell. So with our EMD, we have a timer to time out to see, for chest rise, to see if the person's breathing. I use it. Clearly, no breathing. So I'm starting to go into CPR instructions, and I'm like, all right, here we go. I'm going to do this. It's going to be one of my first good CPR calls. Like I've practiced for this. And I get into the positioning instructions of lay him flat on his back on the ground with nothing under his head. And she said, I don't know if I could do that. I said, well, I need you to try so that we can do everything we can for him. She goes, well, hang on a second. And I hear her in the background do this. They want you to lay on your back on the ground. And at that moment, all I hear is, leave me alone. I said, ma'am, what is he doing right now? And she says, well, I just woke him up and he's going to the bathroom. And now here I am, within a year of working, and I'd been trained on how to give CPR instructions, but I don't think anybody had ever told me how to get from halfway into CPR instructions back to the caller had no idea what they were doing when I started this call and get back out of it. And all I could say to her was, ma'am, when you said he wasn't responding to you, what were you talking about? And she goes, oh, well, he was mad at me because I wouldn't bring him milk for sleeping. So I sent the officers over anyway because they were already on the way. And sure enough, he was fine. He was absolutely fine. And I think that's really the crux of this job is it can go from 0 to 100, but it can go from 100 back to 0 real fast. Thank you.
So working a night shift, we were watching the CCTV outside of our station, and we had a car pull up in the back. 2 people get out, and we start looking, caught us off guard. None of the patrolmen were in. They're all out. The parking lot should be empty. Car lights are on. There's 2 people. They come up almost to the back door of the police department. I see them both bend down, and they start digging in the dirt off to the side of the path. Me and my partner were like, what's going on with this? So we call patrol. Come 10-1, we got somebody out back doing something by the back door. So of course they all come, 4 guys show up, surround them, lights, all that. Turns out it was a few of our local college students who were there trying to bury a emotional support fish. They had chose the back of our police department because she Googled lakes and found Patriot Lake, which is about 300 feet behind our building, clearly not at our building or by our back door. She decided that was a great spot to bury the fish. However, this was in the dead of winter, so the ground was very cold and very hard. She was struggling to bury it. The sergeant also didn't have much sympathy for her. He made her dig it up and take it with her when she left. So after the officers had a good little laugh about it, we decided, okay, let's keep this going. So they all go back out on the road, and we decided we were going to make a little tombstone for the fish. So we did. The official's name was Frida, by the way. So we put the tombstone out while the officers were still out. And they came back for their shift change in the morning. All of them stopped and were staring at the sign. They're like, this girl came back? I said, I don't know. I also happen to do our recordings and have access to our CCTV. So the sergeant demanded to see it. And I said, you need to fill out a form for that.
Nice. Very nice. Who else has a story they would like to share?
As director, we do a lot of QA in our center. As you know, as everybody knows, QA kind of comes across, and we come across some doozies during those random selection calls that we're doing. And it's very rare that I get a dispatcher that appears in my office and goes, I need you to QA that last call. And I'm like, oh God, what did you do? She's like, I quit, and she left. And so I'm like, oh, here we go. So I start putting everything together to get ready to do it, and this girl calls up older woman, and she's, my husband isn't feeling so well. Okay. You hear the dispatcher kind of, and I'm using her story because this is funny. And you can tell she's frantic that her husband isn't feeling very well and that things aren't going very well. And, she's finally establishes, okay, ma'am, is he having trouble breathing? Yes, a little bit. He feels like he's got a rapid pulse. Okay. So she starts going down cardiac. Okay, we're going to go down this road. They have started ALS. They have started EMS. And she's still working on the guide cards. And she's like, okay, ma'am, why don't you tell me a little bit about what was happening when this started? Typical EMD guide card question, right? Like, what was going on prior to this? And she's like, well, this is a little embarrassing. And she says, it's okay, ma'am. You know, it helps me understand what's happening so that I can give you the proper questions and guide cards and get you the help you need and also let you help him. She's like, well, I'm not. She's like, ma'am, it's okay. We hear the whole gamut of everything. Let me help you help him. He just ejaculated. She's like, I'm sorry, ma'am, what? Because you really can't hear it. He just ejaculated. My dispatcher, without missing a beat, was like, okay, ma'am, that happens. What was going on? Was he already stressed out about this event? She goes in, and this woman proceeds to share their sexual innuendos that were going on. And apparently, they were trying some new toys that evening, and it stressed him out. And we got the whole story on tape. It's really cool. But my second story goes back to, when I was a baby dispatcher. And I had a gentleman on the phone. He calls me, and he's, not language barrier. This is really before the time of language line like we had them, but it took like 600 years to get them on the phone. It wasn't an easy process. And this guy, I can't understand anything he is trying to tell me. And he's like, I can't. Well, okay, what can't you do? What's going on? I can't, my B. You can't your what? And he's like, my B. Are you saying P, sir? And I'm like, sir, is something going on like with your penis? Anyway, just wanted to talk to you. Click. So this is one of those stories that I could never share with you when you do your podcast because that anyway cannot be conveyed. Like, it was anyway. So then I called him back because now he's dialed 911. Sir, you just dialed 911. What's going on? Anyway, my pee. What is going on? Sir, what is happening? You've dialed 911. I need you to stop your car where you are. I'm going to have an officer come talk to you. Something, clearly something's going on. So my poor female patrol officer gets out there, and his penis was stuck in a zipper. And that's how that goes.
Nice. We got one last story to share with you. It's something that happened to me. I'm going to throw this up here on the screen for any of you. It's been awesome to be here. I hope to come back. And not only to do this session, but maybe a couple more and record some episodes here with the attendees. So this is the final story for open mic. And so when I was working in dispatch, we worked 3 12s and a 4-hour. Those 4 hours were always on a Wednesday. For this shift, I was going in for the 1A to 5A. I'm driving to work. I'm hungry. I know I got to stay awake, right? So I stop at the gas station. And I'm walking around looking for something to, again, eat and drink. I get a 12-ounce Red Bull. And then I pass by a gas station burrito. I'm like, that might be good. Gas station burrito. It was called the Red Bomb. Okay? Yes, exactly. I didn't realize that was going to be my future, but I end up getting this burrito, right? I get to work early, so I can be briefed and everything, right? I'm thinking I'm going to be on backup phones and radios, but no, I'm on main phones. So I microwave this big-ass burrito, and I go and sit down, chug that Red Bull, destroyed that burrito, and it was amazing. It was so good. But as I'm sitting there, phone call comes in, and it's for a pursuit from the county that's just south of us. So they want us to put a BOL, be on the lookout. Depending on where you're at in the United States, it's either BOL or BOLO, right? For us, it's BOL. So I start typing this in, and then I get like this twitch in my body, and my stomach starts bubbling. I'm like, hell no. This cannot be happening right now. I'm on an emergency and I'm going to have my own emergency? Please, no. I continue with the call. I'm sweating at this point, sitting there, trying to hold this. Now, I was by myself on the other side, but if anyone was over there, I was sweating enough, they probably would have smelled like beef or something. Like, that's how bad I was sweating. And I'm like trembling as I'm talking, right? And I had already sent a message over. I said, if I have to put this person on hold, because I don't know about your dispatch center, but my dispatch center, the way we had 2 bathrooms, right? We had one bathroom inside dispatch, and I wasn't about to drop heat right there, right? No. And then we've got the one that's down the hall. So I put him on hold. I was like, I got to put you on hold for just one moment, please. I got another call coming in. There was no other call. Well, technically there was. It was my own. So you start getting that bubble gut, right? And I put him on hold, stand up. And I'm like, I got to run down the hall really quick. Haul ass running. You'd probably see the smoke coming behind. Hopefully smoke, right? Not anything else. Go down the hall, do my thing. And I come back. I'm like, all right, give me the phone. I'll go ahead and take it. I'm back on the phone, and I'm talking. And again, my stomach starts bubbling. Now, you know, sequels, they're the worst, right? Well, in the shit world, it's the same. And I'm going through this, and I don't know if you have ever tried to hold gas in. Like, it starts going up, turns into like a back fart, you know? It hits the rib, sounds like a xylophone. It's not good. So I'm going through this call, and I'm like, oh, stay together. Please stay together. Put him on hold. Stand up again and say, I got to run down the hall. And my buddy goes, you got to poop, dude? I was like, come on, guy. This isn't, you don't have to confirm it, all right? So like, just leave it be. Run down the hall, do my thing, come back. Nobody's on the phone anymore. I'm like, oh, whew. Thank God, it's over. Phone rings. The same people. This guy, he had come into our county, turned around and went back. And I'm thinking, put the stop sticks down. Stop this already. I'm going through my own shit right now, literally going through my own shit. I don't have time for this. So they're going through, and my stomach just starts bubbling again. I'm like, hell no. It's like this trilogy of poo. Like, this is horrible. I put him on hold, and I stand up again. I was like, I am sorry. There's no way I'm going to make it down there. I'm going to go right here. And they're like, what? I was like, no, not right here. Not right here. I'm going to go into the bathroom and do my thing. So I go in, and I shut the door. I turn on the fan. I turn on the water, anything to mask the war I'm about to go into because, dude, if you've ever seen Dumb and Dumber, yeah, you know, my ass was screaming. That means two things. I was screaming in there. I come out and my coworkers are just busting up laughing at me. I was like, you know what, screw you guys. I'm going to turn on the heat because I'm the supervisor, right? I'm going to turn on the heat so you can smell it. Like, screw you guys. So, later, family vacation. We're driving from Indiana to Washington State. We stop in Montana for gas. I'm walking through the gas station and I stop. I get this weird twitch. I was like, what the hell was that? And I turn around and there's a cooler with Red Bomb burritos next to a display of Red Bull. All I could think was, screw you, Montana. That's my story. Thank you all very much for being here and sharing these stories. Once again, it is okay to not be okay. Please talk to each other. We only have us. Thank you very much. And again, my information is here. And you can check me out also every Thursday, which is tomorrow. Today's Wednesday, 9 p.m. Eastern time. I do open mic live. Dispatchers come on into the audience and they share funny stories. I read them verbatim. Sometimes I do voices, and man, the shit gets crazy. Sometimes my mom's in the audience and makes it even worse. But it's a lot of fun. But again, thank you all very much. I appreciate it, and it's been awesome to be here. And welcome back. Welcome back from such a fun time, a fun episode, and there was so much, and as always, open mic, it never disappoints. There are so many things that happen in 911 that just people don't know, and there's a lot of things that we go through, and they can be pretty hilarious. Again, this is about the incident. This is not about the caller. We're there to help people, but there are incidents that come in that you can't make this stuff up. And when you tell someone, or when you hear stories like you just heard, you might think sometimes, really? Like, does that really happen? And it does. It does happen. So thank you all so much for being there, and especially all of you watching, listening, supporting, sharing, all of it. I love doing this, and especially open mic. Open mic is so much fun. But if you have any comments, questions, or you ever want to be a guest on the show, you can email us, and that's going to be wttpodcast@gmail.com. You can follow us on Twitter. That is @91podcast. You can like us on Facebook. That is facebook.com/Within the Trenches Podcast. This episode has been sponsored by InDigital as well as Carbine. Shout out to patrons as always. And if you want to become a patron and help support us, you can check us out. That is patreon.com/WTT Podcast. And I thank you so very much. I wouldn't be able to do everything that I do if it wasn't for all of you. But again, especially those who are watching, listening, sharing, and supporting. So thank you so very much. And this can be seen on YouTube, Facebook, as well as Twitter. And you can also listen 24/7 on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, your favorite podcasting app, and withinthetrenches.net. Have a good one, everyone. And we'll see you in the next one.